Hey, this is Tom Jacobs from tdjacobs.com. I'm an evolutionary astrologer, medium, energy worker, and channel. And I do readings and I teach, I do tutoring, I do classes and whatnot. Um, t- and I'm just having a laugh today. My girlfriend sent me a text, which is a picture, obviously snagged from Facebook or something, which is of little kids, pictures of little kids like 7 to 8 years old. You know, what are you thankful for? And there's a picture of the grinning kid, and then there's, you know, what the kid's thankful for. And there's one of them says, I'm thankful for my family, God, and my teacher, right? Names the teacher. Another one says, I'm thankful for God and Jesus. That's cool. Um, and then this one that she's circled, or that's been circled in the picture, and then she sent it to me, says, I'm thankful for all the dead people because at least they tried. And I just want little Isabella Jerrigan, who's 8 years old. I don't even know where she lives. I'm lazy and entitled, so I didn't look it up. But which is my right as an American, right? Lazy, entitled. But anyway, there are a lot of dead people who didn't try, and I want Isabella Jerrigan, who's 8 years old, who's featured in this newspaper. I just want her to grow up understanding, something grounded in reality and truth. I did want to do something actually very serious, so I'm going to change the tone of my voice and my energy field to talk about gratitude and being grateful. And this is not going to be a terribly long dispatch because I just have a few questions for you. One of them, is, well, one's an observation, which is that we're all talking about or thinking about what we're grateful for. And we take this day every year in the U.S. to think about what we're grateful for, right? To be reminded that we should be thankful if we have something good, or if we have enough, or if we have anything. This is really a way of life. It's really a lifestyle of being grateful for what you do have. Now, if you don't have a lot of material things at this time or for a long time, then then we're more grateful for what we do have, right? Because the lazy, complacent, entitled people just sit around and don't realize it, and Thanksgiving is really just an excuse to let somebody else make turkey for you and then watch football, which is fine. Which is fine. It's the lazy, entitled American right to do that. But people who are wanting to evolve consciousness or evolve their spiritual life or advance their evolution so they can get off this planet finally after thousands of lifetimes of struggle and hardship, like you and me, for all of us who are aiming for the finish line of not having to come back anymore. I'm completely kidding, because it doesn't work like that. A lot of us may try to incorporate gratitude into our daily life, and we don't always remember to do it. We don't always realize that what we're generating, the energy that we're generating, creates the world around us. And then that creation reflects to us something we either think is true or don't understand. So to change our karma, to change our beliefs, to improve our lives, one of the wonderful things to do is to establish a gratitude practice. I know that when I go to bed and I'm kind of drifting off and I think about what I'm grateful for and I make a little list, I know I sleep better. I know I wake up feeling a little more refreshed, but I also admit that I often forget this. And so I'll do it for weeks at a time, and then I won't do it for months at a time. And it's just part of my own learning practice, but, process of learning how all this stuff works. But anyway, everything in your life is generated by what you're vibrating. And if you receive things that you don't like, or if you experience things that don't work for you, recognize that they are manifestations of what you are vibrating. That includes conscious vibration and unconscious vibration. This is the secret to changing karma and living as a person without going nuts. Because all kinds of things that you don't like are going to happen. What do you think about those things? What do you choose to believe about why those things happen? So my invitation for you during, this Thanksgiving, it's actually the day before, and my invitation for you is to think about the worst things and find a way to be grateful for them. The worst things in your own personal life. The things that hurt the most, the things that set you back the most, the choices that you made that seemed to end in not something shiny or in disaster, the opportunities you cut yourself off from, the experiences where somebody let you down, or somebody couldn't be there for you, or you couldn't be there for somebody else, you couldn't deliver, somebody else couldn't deliver. To think about all those things and realize that the major things, like anything that you would include on a list like that, in fact, is really important. If it rises to the surface, when you think about this, it probably carries some kind of emotional charge, and it's therefore very important because it's part of your human learning journey. So everybody who has caused you hardship or denied you opportunity is giving you an opportunity to progress as a soul living a human life. Life isn't about happiness. It's not about safety. It's not about having the things you want. This is all stuff about personality. A lot of people doing spiritual teaching might say that's about ego and we want to limit ego or rein it in. Really, though, it's about the facets of personality. One of the things that I'm doing on this planet is providing you a constant bookmark or a reminder that you're more than your personality. And everything that happens to you suits that more thing, which is soul, which is divine consciousness, trying to learn how to live a human life. What does it cost? What does it feel like? What happens when you make free will choices and they work well? What happens when the choices don't end up working that well or resulting in something you appreciate and like? So can you be grateful to somebody who lied to you? Are you willing to be grateful when somebody took something from you or stole something from you or prevented you from having an experience or obtaining something that really mattered to you? Can you be grateful, if you've ever been fired from a job? Can you be grateful for that? Can you be grateful for learning about the right use of resources through making a choice that, made you lose resources? A key to the entire human manifestation experiment is to realize that when bad things happen, it's a teaching tool. When good things happen, it's a teaching tool. Neither is a reward for your behavior or a punishment. There is no such thing as reward and punishment when it comes to karma. There is no such thing as a value judgment on your choices except as you perceive it. I mentioned recently in some MP3 that, the divine consciousness is not sitting on a marble throne handing out happy stickers and demerits, like smiley stickers or gold stars, and little demerits. That's not what's happening here. You are the divine, and your judgment of your own experience is the judgment of the divine. So if you're willing to recognize yourself as a work in progress who needs stimulation of various kinds in order to progress along your journey, then you can be grateful for all that has happened to you. The big things, the most important and impacting experiences, you got to work through one by one. Because the emotional charge that comes up can be intense. Can you be grateful for somebody who didn't respect your boundaries? Can you be grateful for somebody for a situation in which seemed accidental but led to an injury or something? This is stuff I work with. Can you be grateful for the time that person didn't show up when that person said he or she would? Can you be grateful for that person saying, this dynamic between us needs to end, we need to move on? Can you be grateful for the times when you tried 13 different things and still couldn't achieve a goal? Can you be grateful for all of these things as parts, as modules of the human learning journey? Because that's what you're here for. You're not here to be happy or safe. Those feelings come and go. You can generate an internal feeling of happiness, and gratitude's part of that. You can generate an internal feeling of safety if you know who you are and you fully accept who you are. So you can develop those internally and carry them, but life is not about finding those things in the external world. One of the things that I'm grateful for this year, this is the first time I've ever had this thought, but I was sitting here thinking about gratitude, and the quote of the little girl in the newspaper thing from the Facebook picture the girlfriend texted, like I was going to pick on her and say something smarmy. But then I was like, well, actually, something I am grateful for. I mean, there are numerous things, but one thing that surprised me on my little mental list is the opportunity to process past life crap so I don't have to relive it. I was sitting here thinking about seeing the world in terms of black and white and not really having compassion. I'm often, if you follow my work, you know that I'm often drawn to consume entertainment media that brings up themes. And I'm watching The Man in the High Castle on Amazon, just based on a novel from the 60s by Philip K. Dick, if I'm quoting that right. See, now I have to go look. Oh, heck. Yeah, I can't even know. Anyway, The Man in the High Castle. So it's an alternate history of the U.S. if the Nazis had won World War II. There's a part of me who carries this black and white thinking that's kind of totalitarian, fascist, dictator type. It's a part of me that has that sense of this is right, that is wrong, and the person whining about wanting an exception to the rule, forget it. There's a part of me that has that black and white attitude, that black and white thing. So I'm watching the show, and the U.S. is in this world, this thing written in, I guess, 1962. The western maybe quarter of the U.S. is under Japanese control, and the eastern two-thirds or so, and there's a strip in the middle that's no man's land or kind of a neutral zone, but the eastern two-thirds or so is like basically colonialized and run by Nazis, and so the Nazi thing is alive and well in this story, in this world. So watching these two kinds of storylines develop, because they have like a West Coast and East Coast deal in this entertainment media thing. Watching it unfold, there's a lot of stuff about seeing things in black and white, and I'm sitting here saying, well, heck, that's not really me, but that makes so much sense, and I'm actually comforted when there are rules. At least you know how you're supposed to behave. So, as in these kind of rigid, militaristic societies always have those. So I'm sitting here feeling comfortable, and then thinking, well, this is not me. Anyway, so I have this gratitude for the opportunity to see this so I don't turn into it, to see this thread of consciousness from another part of the timeline that exists within me so I don't have to relive it. I don't have to do it. I don't have to be that way. But it's part of who I am because I'm multidimensional. I exist as consciousness across the timeline, as you do too. But I don't have to do anything about it because it's not really who I am. I don't need to do something about it to enforce or solidify or strengthen or establish an identity related to that thread of my consciousness. Even if you think about things that you sometimes would want to do but are distasteful or unattractive, and so you don't do them. Like somebody really, really hurts you, and your scorpionic Pluto, Marsy Pluto thing, would love to just like do something to make that person hurt too. you know, or something. Just something kind of extreme that's kind of ridiculous, or somebody who abused you a long time ago. Part of you might want to, part of you might want to be vengeful, right? And this is not everybody all the time, but it's everybody sometimes, once in a great while. Some pain can run so deep that we want to protect ourselves. Try to react in order to protect ourselves, and then sometimes become hardened in the face of that. But then we don't want to be like that. But that's a real part of the human psyche. That Plutonian, Scorpionic, Marsy possibility. But you don't have to do it. You don't have to do any of it. You don't have to do anything. But it's important to know who you are, to know what makes you tick, and to know all the different parts within you and how they're wired. So that's one of the things I'm grateful for, is the opportunity to process things that are really not nice, so I don't have to live them out. That's one of the things I'm really grateful for this year. I'm not going to give you a whole list, but just in terms of this conversation, it's germane. So I think that's it. I'm going to go live my life. And thank you for your time and energy. And if you want to support this original audio project, it's not really a podcast, but it kind of is. If you want to support this pseudo podcast, you can do so on the right-hand page of my SoundCloud profile. You can also read about what I'm up to at tdjacobs.com. If you're somebody who likes holidays, I hope you have nice holidays, and we'll talk to you soon.